Narrator. Imagine having a blueprint for genius. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's lifelong partner, was famous for his latticework of mental models, a collection of powerful frameworks he used to navigate complex problems, make brilliant investments, and live an exceptionally wise life. He often spoke of needing around 25 core models to be truly successful. But here's the counterintuitive truth. Trying to master all 25 might be the very thing holding you back. What if the real secret to Munger's profound wisdom wasn't in the quantity of models he knew, but in his deep understanding and masterful application of just a select few? What if, by focusing on a handful of foundational principles, you could unlock 90% of his incredible power? At Mindframe, our mission is to help you master the mental models used by the world's greatest thinkers. Today, we're cutting through the noise. I'm going to reveal the 3 most pivotal mental models from Munger's toolkit, the ones that underpin all his other wisdom, and show you exactly how to apply them to transform your decision-making, wealth, and relationships. Narrator. Munger himself rarely gave a neat, numbered list of his 25 models. He spoke of elementary, worldly wisdom, a broad, multidisciplinary approach. The challenge? Most people, upon hearing 25 mental models, rush to memorize them, ticking them off a list. But knowing a model and truly mastering it are worlds apart. It's like a chef knowing a list of 25 ingredients versus understanding the fundamental principles of cooking. How heat transforms food, how flavors combine, the physics of emulsification. The latter leads to creation, the former, mere recitation. So how do we move beyond mere knowledge to true mastery, the Munger way? It starts by focusing on the bedrock principles. These aren't just tools, they're lenses through which to view every problem. And the first, perhaps most famous, is a simple twist on how you approach any challenge. Narrator. Our first crucial model is inversion, or thinking backwards. Most people focus on how to achieve success. Munger, inspired by mathematician Carl Jacobi, famously said, "All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there." Instead of asking, "How do I succeed?" inversion prompts you to ask, "What would cause me to fail? What do I absolutely want to avoid?" Think of a surgeon preparing for a complex operation. While they meticulously plan for success, they also mentally walk through every possible complication, every way the procedure could go wrong. They anticipate errors, prepare for emergencies, and only then proceed. This isn't pessimism, it's robust preventative thinking. Narrator. Let's apply inversion to decision-making. Say you're considering starting a new venture or taking on a big project. Instead of just brainstorming strategies for success, invert the problem. What are the top 3 ways this project could spectacularly fail? Is it running out of cash? Building something nobody wants? Losing key talent? By identifying these failure points up front, you can proactively design safeguards, mitigate risks, and drastically increase your odds of success. This counterintuitive approach sidesteps common pitfalls and builds resilience from the ground up. What critical steps might you miss if you only focused on success metrics, without ever considering the most likely paths to disaster? The answer is often crucial details that only become apparent when you flip your perspective. Narrator. Our second essential model is the circle of competence. This is about knowing the boundaries of your knowledge and expertise and strictly operating within them. Warren Buffett, Munger's partner, popularized this idea, stating, "Everyone has a circle of competence. The important thing is not how large the circle is, but how well you know the boundaries." This isn't about being limited, it's about being effective. Imagine a master craftsman who specializes in intricate woodworking. He knows precisely which tools to use, which woods suit which purposes, and the limits of his skills. He doesn't dabble in metalwork or electronics, not because he's incapable, but because he understands that mastery comes from focus within his defined domain. Narrator. This model is profound for wealth and investing. Munger and Buffett famously avoided investing in tech companies for decades, not because they thought tech was bad, but because it fell outside their circle of competence. They couldn't understand the underlying business models well enough to predict their future value. Instead, they stuck to industries they understood deeply: insurance, consumer goods, stable businesses with predictable cash flows. The lesson? Don't invest in what you can't explain simply. Don't chase trendy investments simply because others are. Understanding your limits protects you from catastrophic losses and allows you to capitalize powerfully on the opportunities you do comprehend. How many people have lost fortunes by venturing into complex markets they barely understood, driven by fear of missing out, rather than a clear understanding of their own competence? It's a tale as old as markets themselves. Narrator. Our third and final model isn't just a single tool, it's the meta-framework that ties everything together, the multidisciplinary approach, or what Munger called building a latticework of mental models. This is the realization that no single discipline, not economics, psychology, or physics, holds all the answers. Truly understanding a complex problem requires looking at it through lenses from many different fields. The real power comes from seeing how these models intersect and combine. You don't need to be an expert in every field, but you need to understand the big ideas from them. Think of it like a seasoned detective. They don't just use forensic science. They combine it with psychology to understand motives, sociology to understand group dynamics, and history to understand patterns. Each discipline adds a layer of insight, forming a richer, more complete picture. Narrator. Applied to relationships and personal growth, this model is transformative. If you're struggling with a personal conflict, instead of just applying a communication model, psychology, consider other angles. Is there an incentive misalignment? Economics? Are there historical patterns repeating? History? Are specific cognitive biases at play? Psychology again, but a deeper dive. By layering these perspectives, you gain a far more nuanced understanding of the problem and discover solutions that a single lens approach would miss. And it helps you avoid simplistic answers to complex human interactions. What if the toughest challenge in your life isn't solvable with a single bullet point answer, but instead requires weaving together insights from biology, physics, and even philosophy? That's the power of the multidisciplinary mind. Narrator. Let's bring these three models to life with a real story. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett's acquisition of See's Candies. In 1972, they bought See's for $25 million, a price many considered exorbitant for a candy company. Yet Munger later called it their prototype of a perfect business, generating over $2 billion in cumulative profit. How? It wasn't just about valuation. It was a classic Lollapalooza effect, where multiple mental models converged. 1. Circle of competence. They deeply understood simple consumer businesses. Candy wasn't high-tech, it was understandable. 2. Inversion. What could go wrong? The brand had immense loyalty, pricing power, and simple, predictable operations. The risks were low. 3. Multidisciplinary approach. They saw beyond the balance sheet. They understood the psychology of buying gifts, the economic moat of a beloved brand, the human desire for a simple pleasure. They recognized that people would pay a premium for a high-quality, trusted treat, especially during holidays. This combination of factors, brand power, pricing power, customer loyalty, simple operations, created a snowballing effect of profitability. This was a surprising insight at the time, as most investors focused purely on tangible assets and current earnings. This wasn't just a smart investment. It was a masterclass in seeing how individual pieces of worldly wisdom fit together to create something far greater than the sum of its parts. Narrator. Inversion, circle of competence, and a multidisciplinary approach. These three mental models, when deeply understood and habitually applied, don't just add to your knowledge. They fundamentally upgrade your operating system. They enable you to not only avoid common pitfalls, but to spot the rare, compounding opportunities that others miss. Munger didn't just know his 25 models. He lived them, applying them synergistically. Start with these three, practice them daily, and watch your decision-making, financial savvy, and personal wisdom flourish. Mastery isn't about memorizing a list. It's about internalizing these frameworks until they become second nature. Narrator. If you found these insights valuable and are ready to master more mental models for personal growth, hit that like button right now. Don't forget to subscribe to Mindframe for more concise, powerful wisdom delivered weekly. What other mental models do you rely on most in your life? Let us know in the comments below. And to continue your journey into foundational thinking, check out our video on first principles thinking right here. It's the perfect complement to Munger's wisdom for sharpening your analytical edge.